Today on Cassidys Craveable Creations, I'm going to show you all the tips and tricks to make a no-fail Whole30 Mayo recipe that's super rich and creamy but still light and fluffy. To see more recipes like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell below to be alerted each time I post a new video. So this is one of the most popular recipes on my site. It only has 5 ingredients and it's really easy to make. Before we get started, let's go over my tips and tricks to ensure that it turns out perfect every single time. Tip number 1 is that if you have a large food processor, you're going to need to double the recipe. When I first developed this recipe, I had a small food processor and it worked really well. And then when I upgraded it to a bigger one, there just wasn't enough liquid to emulsify it. And so if you have a larger one like this size or about like a 6 to 8 cup food processor, it's going to need to be doubled. Tip number 2 is if you're worried about eating raw eggs, you can buy pasteurized eggs at the store, which are safe to eat raw, or you can pasteurize the eggs yourself. It's really simple. You can just basically get on Google and you can get the simple instructions. However, I feel comfortable using high quality cage-free organic eggs because they're generally pretty safe to eat. And then I just simply wash the outside of the egg because that's where the bacteria usually lies anyways. But do whatever you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with a raw egg, you can simply use the pasteurized variety. Tip number 3 is the type of oil and the brand that you use matter. When I very first started experimenting with making my own mayo, I was using the same extra virgin olive oil that I cook with, and it had such a sour taste to it, kind of like a bitter kick aftertaste, and it was so terrible. Like when I'd make ranch dressings and when I would make chicken salad, we just couldn't hardly stand it. And so I figured out that you'd have to use the extra light tasting olive oil to get rid of that bitter aftertaste. But even sometimes when I would get the extra light tasting olive oil, it varied brand to brand. And so the brand that I found that's always consistent with a super neutral taste, I think it's called, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but Bertolli, I think. Bertolli. And this is not sponsored. I'm not getting paid. They have no idea who I am. This is just my preferred brand that I always use. And some people, they have commented on my site that MCT oil works really well and doesn't leave an aftertaste, but I have yet to try it. If you try it, let me know what you think in the comments below. Tip number 4 is you need to pour the oil in really slowly. The more slowly you pour it in, the thicker your mayo will be. And if you just dump it in or you rush it, it could turn out runny and not emulsify very well and not thicken up. And so this is a step that you really can't skip. So just be sure to keep that in mind when you're making your mayonnaise. So all you do is you start by putting 2 room temperature eggs in the food processor. And be sure that the eggs are actually room temperature, because if they're not room temperature, the mayonnaise will have a really hard time emulsifying. And so all I did was I put my eggs in a bowl of warm water for about 15 minutes. So we'll just stick the eggs in here, 2 large eggs. And then I have a half a teaspoon of sea salt, a half a teaspoon of ground mustard. And if you don't have ground mustard, you can just do like a tablespoon or 2 of yellow mustard or Dijon mustard. And it adds flavor and it also helps it emulsify. And then we're going to start by just adding about a 1/4 cup of oil. That's probably about good. And then we're just going to close the lid and process this on low while we add the rest of the oil until it comes together and is nice and thick and creamy. Okay, oh my goodness, this looks so rich and creamy. So we're just gonna add a little bit of lemon juice to brighten up the flavors. Let's close it and just swirl it one more time. Okay. Oh, wow. Look at this. Look how creamy that is. Let me taste it. Yeah. It has just like a really great neutral flavor that will work well in any recipe. And my final tip before you leave is that if for some reason your mayo didn't emulsify and it is still runny, you can salvage it. All you do is you put the mayonnaise that is still runny in a bowl or a pourable container, and you just start over using the mayonnaise that didn't work as the oil. So what you do is you'll add the eggs, the salt, and the ground mustard to the food processor, and then you use your runny mayo as the oil and you pour it in really slowly, and it should thicken up nicely. So I've only had my mayo not turn out one time in all the years I've been making it, and this trick saved the day, and I'm sure it'll save the day for you too if for some reason it doesn't emulsify and get thick.